This year, it is Home Alone, and we are not just picking Home Alone because it is one of the most iconic holiday movies ever. No, we're picking it because it's got a birthday. It's turning 30. Who feels old? Now, of course, you all know the premise of Home Alone, and this is the part where Ash and I typically like to break it down for you, but we thought that we would let classic 90s Catherine O'Hara describe the movie for us.
It's about a family planning a trip to Paris for the Christmas holidays. The next day we're going to leave for Paris. This is the night before leaving for the holidays, and we sleep in the morning that we're supposed to leave, and there are 2 vans waiting outside to take us to the airport, and we rush into the vans. We scream around the house getting ready, rush into the vans, get to the airport, get on the plane. Parents are in first class, kids are in coach. Great, we finally made it. We've forgotten something. There's something we've forgotten here. What is? And we run through a list of things. No, it's something else and something else. We've left our youngest kid at home by himself.
Kevin! It's such a classic, right? And it's not one of those ones, we talk a lot about cult classics and things that kind of grew over time. Home Alone was one of those movies, like the first time you saw it, you knew that you were watching something special.
Yes! Yes, 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 yes.
And this movie was actually kind of a production hell, I want to say. So this is a movie that probably should have never seen the light of day. Backing up a little bit, I thought this was really interesting. So Chris Columbus, the director, was supposed to direct National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite movies of all time. But what happened, and what we've heard quite a few times throughout history, is that Chris Columbus did not get along with Chevy Chase at all, to the point where he actually was quoted as saying that Chevy Chase treated him like dirt. So he left Christmas Vacation.
Hallelujah! Holy where's the Tylenol?
And then producer John Hughes was like, well, I have a movie for you because the director that I had in mind has a conflict, so how would you like to do one of my movies? And he's like, great, I'll do Home Alone.
But it was a Warner Brothers movie, and they were like, you can have a really small budget if you can make this happen. But this movie had so many crazy stunts and all this different things that they went over budget. And Warner Brothers was like, oh, okay, we see you went over budget, shut it down.
I don't think so.
Little did they know that John Hughes was talking to his friends over at Fox and was describing this amazing movie that he was making, which this is super shady, and this is typically not what we're supposed to do. The day that Warner Brothers told them to shut down production, Fox was like, we will take your movie, have them keep working. So Warner Brothers went around and told everyone stop, and then a director came around and said, JK, don't, we're still going.
This was an instant success, and it actually held the record, I think the Guinness Book of World Records record, for the highest grossing live action comedy ever, and it wasn't until 2011 that it got dethroned by The Hangover Part 2.
You did it, buddy.
Sure did.
Cheers.
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 Shut up.
This is a role that Macaulay Culkin, of course, was born to play. And this was a role that was actually created for him, which is really interesting because John Hughes had worked with him previously when he was a little boy on the movie Uncle Buck. And so he was so captivated by this little kid that he wrote this movie with Macaulay in mind. And I love the fact that over the years we've seen Macaulay kind of go like on a roller coaster ride of how he actually feels about this movie. Like, I'm sure when it first came out, he was super stoked, and then he was forever known as Kevin McAllister, and now he seems to poke fun at it.
Mom? Dad? Hey, Google, what's on my calendar today?
You have one event called House to Yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Macaulay was always going to be Kevin McAllister, but not so much for the other cast. So for Harry, one of our wet bandits, Robert De Niro and John Lovitz were considered for the role, but they both turned it down, and then Joe Pesci accepted it. And then for Marv, this one's so interesting. So Daniel Stern was cast as Marv, and then shooting started, and they were like, okay, we're going from 6 weeks to 8 weeks. And Daniel Stern was like, okay, that's fine, but like, give me more money. And they were like, we don't have more money. And so he dropped out. And then Daniel Roebuck, who you would recognize from like a bunch of things, he's just been in a ton of things, was hired to replace him. But then after a couple days of rehearsal, there was just like no chemistry between him and Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
So then he left and they hired Daniel Stern back. So now he's Marv again.
That's a good idea.
The character of Uncle Frank, who is the worst.
And olives and
Look what
onions
you did, you little jerk.
That role was originally written for Kelsey Grammer, aka Frasier, and that totally tracks. This movie has plenty of scene stealers, so many fun facts. Ash, what was one of your favorites?
I mean, I gotta say my absolute favorite is that Kevin McAllister stunt double was a 30-year-old person.
They were actual stuntmen taking these super hard falls and these giant pratfalls.
And like, so they would have like the ornaments were made out of candy and like sugar. They like use sugar for gloss a lot, but also that tarantula was like 100% authentic, real, live tarantula.
The picture where Kevin finds the photo of Buzz's girlfriend.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Here's a fun fact, Buzz's girlfriend is actually a boy. The director, Chris Columbus, never wanted to actually show a little girl in the frame because the fact that Kevin goes, woof, didn't want to ever hurt a little girl's feelings.
So weird.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
The movies that he watches in like Home Alone and Home Alone 2 are just fake movies that don't exist.
I had no idea because I quote that movie within a movie all the time.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
So Elvis Presley, iconic musician, one of my faves, he died in 1977 of a heart attack. And there's a very strong Elvis is still alive fan base that persisted for a long time. I believe some of them are still around as well, but many, many, many people believe that not only is Elvis still alive, he is standing right, wait, where are my fingers pointing? Right there in the background of this shot, that the bearded man in the background is actually Elvis Presley still alive. What do you think of this?
I'm like staring really hard. It looks like a nice man, but I don't know.
In 2018, this theory was officially debunked. I don't know, still suspect, when an investigative journalist had to identify the extra as a man named Gary Richard Grott, who had passed away from a heart attack in February 2016. See, this is it. This is Elvis. I know it. Of course, they find the man and he's dead and he didn't come forward ever. No, that's Elvis. Why would Elvis be like, I'm not dead, but I'm gonna go be an extra in Home Alone?
Maybe he was a future Catherine O'Hara fan. We've got to talk about that scene. What is probably the most iconic Home Alone scene out there? So originally, the director wanted him to put on the aftershave and just kind of put it on there and then scream. But Macaulay didn't know he was supposed to move his hands away from his face, and he just kept it there. And it's just the cutest little moment. And I feel so badly for Macaulay in real life because everybody does that to him now.
He was wearing a mask, so he's embracing it, you know?
Well, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Stream Queens. We are dying to know, what is your favorite Home Alone fun fact that Ash and I just blew your mind with? Let us know.
And did you know that there are 5 Home Alone movies? Because there are. Yeah, there are 5. Let us know what you guys are binging this weekend. Use the hashtag Stream Queens, and we'll see you guys next time.